Yes, hello. I am James Rowland. Today it's the WNR583. It's our New Japan catch up, and I'm not alone. I have the pleasure to be joined by the entire WNR team. Up first by my side for every WWE and AEW show. It is, of course, the fantastic Jaxie Scarlett. How's it going, Jaxie?
Hello, hello. Yes, back at it again. I'm ready to do a catch up with New Japan. It's been a while.
It has been a while. I mean, the last New Japan we did was the G1. So we're just gonna all we're
Yeah,
gonna do is
yeah.
catch up on like 3 or 4 months worth. Oh, it shouldn't take too long, should it?
I mean, hopefully not, but I mean, you are talking to us here, and we all go on a tangent. So if I were you guys, listeners, strap yourselves in. It's going to be bumping.
Yeah, make sure you got a hot drink, before the
Yeah,
show starts, I would say.
or a strong, stiff one,
Yeah.
depending on what your floats your boat.
And up next, our resident NXT expert and New Japan demigod, and of course, honorary House of Torture member. It is Monty. How's it going, man?
Going great. This is the House of Torture show. I know you said it's a New Japan show, but anytime you talk about New Japan, you're talking about House of Torture. So, I just want to make that clear right now. Everything else that's going on around the House of Torture, we will touch on, but mostly I will be worried about my House of Torture guys. So, yeah, just letting y'all know.
Yeah, without doubt. And again, it was, I mean, I don't want to put it out there if you don't want to. And I know you did celebrate your birthday recently, and I know it's Thanksgiving. So you've been doing a lot of, I guess, enjoying yourself lately, shall we say?
Yes, I'm plugged from everything. I walked away from everything. I went back to the House of Torture club. We had a nice party, nice get together. Evil made an appearance, but he left quickly because he is evil. But other than that, yeah, it was cool. It's my time of year. I love this time of year. I may not sound like it, but it's because I'm recovering still. But other than that, this is great. You talking about New Japan? It's my a little bit right after my birthday. But the end of November, always a good time for me. My best mood, even if I don't sound like it today. But I'm trying to keep up the House of Torture. Stop trying to break my shell, James.
Yeah, sorry. Yeah, I forgot that. Yeah, no, that's my bad. Well, last but by no means least, well, oh, what a night. Late November, 2 years back from 23. What a very special time for me. As I remember, what a night. Oh, what a night. I didn't even know her name, but I was never gonna be the same. What a lady, what a night. Oh, I got a funny feeling when she walked into the room. And my, as I recall, it ended much too soon. Oh, what a night! Yeah, what a night it was. The 13th of November, 2021, the very first time Gina joined the WNR podcast. Happy anniversary, Gina!
Oh, what a night it was. When that
Oh,
tradition.
awesome.
Happy anniversary.
Awesome.
Thank you. Thank you. And thank you for the song, James. I always appreciate it.
No, no, it was
But
the WNR.
according to Monty, I'm gonna go with it's the same. It's a House of Torture night, not a New Japan night.
All right, all right. Well, again, it was the WNR 392 was your first show, which was the full gear live one. So again,
Nice.
it's building up. I mean, what we're on 583 today, so that's nearly 200 under the belt.
Yeah. Yeah, that's so cool. I'm glad you keep note of this for me.
Yeah, always for you. But like I said, we're all nice and happy until we start this show. And again, we're doing it to House of Torture. But again, a lot to catch up on. But happy anniversary. We're going to catch up with all the New Japan. Like I said, the last New Japan show we did was the G1. So basically, getting us up to date as we head towards Wrestle Kingdom. We got Blue Justice, which was the 7th of September. Shingo welcome back Gabe from his holiday during the G1. In the main event, Tanahashi beat Yuji Nagata for the last time. Yuji's son was there to present Tanahashi with a gift. Backstage, Ren Narita was beating up Zack, who kept calling him a cunt, which, again, very interesting, the history between. I mean, Monty, I'm going to lean on you a lot in this show, I know. But again, to see Tanahashi and Yuji Nagata, because I know Nagata from his time, obviously, even I think WCW wrestling. Do you know what I mean? So for him to still go and it's be Tanahashi's got a last match with him was pretty emotional as well.
Yeah, I mean, Yuji Nagata is the lifeblood of New Japan in a lot of ways. He has been one of the dojo leaders who's he's helped train guys like Tanahashi and so forth along the way, while continuing to be one of the biggest and best legends in New Japan. He's one of those guys who survived the down years that Tanahashi is kind of credited for saving. Yuji Nagata was one of those poor wrestlers that Inoki had out there fighting MMA fights and taking real lumps just to kind of push New Japan through those days. And Tanahashi kind of helped lead them out of those dark days into becoming the New Japan we know now. But Yuji was there along the entire time. He's always been there, and I think that's kind of like the main constant. Besides the great matches that he's somehow still able to put on well into his twilight years, you would expect. Yuji Nagata is that example. He's one of those guys that I always point at him, Kojima, the Suzuki's. He's those guys who've been wrestling for so long but don't look it, don't wrestle like they've been gone, I mean, like they've been doing this for a long time. And I think you almost, if it wasn't for a lot of the high impact damage that Tanahashi, has received over his career, you would expect Tana to kind of be in that same vein. I'm sure he wants to, but you know, to kind of outlast Yuji Nagata in a sense, and Yuji still pushing on, still leading the next generation on in the dojo, and just showing up whenever he's needed to be that great mentor slash legend that he is. It's just one of those things that I always love to point out about that. That's one of the big differences between a lot of Western pro wrestling versus New Japan and versus Japanese pro wrestling in general is getting a chance to see these guys who've been doing this for so long, and still be out there applying their trade, and still looking great. And Nagata is one of the best examples of that. So to see him and Tanahashi have this moment together, I mean, yeah, as you saw, the name of the show is Blue Dress. Is all about. This is basically a Nagata themed show. So he gets celebrated continuously, but he is all well deserved, like you mentioned. Pioneer. He spreaded what New Japan was across to many people who didn't know much about Japanese wrestling by being in WCW, along with the Mudas and a lot of other the great. I'm why I'm forgetting. I mean, Choshu's there. I mean, you got a
Mm.
lot of the greats who crossed over from Japan. A lot of new using the guy as one of those guys who his name still stick out from their era because of the impact he kind of left, even if they weren't really allowed to do much in WCW. So yeah, it's meant a lot for both guys. It meant a lot for long time viewers of New Japan, I'm sure. So I just thought this was just one of those awesome things. No one does a farewell run. I don't even know if you want to call it just a tour. Like it's just been an incredible year of moments for Tanahashi, and this was another one.
Yeah, without a doubt. Like I said, an incredible. Yeah, and that's what I quite like about New Japan as well. And Jaxie, I don't know if you noticed this as well, but obviously we've got, like we said, the young lions coming through, but they have to go through, like you said, the old guard with the last generation still alive. So it's still a test. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I think that there's something quite humble about, just sort of like you say, the sort of veterans of the company being like, if you actually want to be accepted or respected, like you kind of need to go through this sort of initiation between all of these different veterans. You got to earn your that respect. You got to earn your way through this business, and it's like it really is an initiation almost. It's like everyone's got to go through it. There's not one person that is singled out or anything like that. Is very similar across like sort of all young upcoming new wrestlers at the moment.
Yeah, no, I really like it. Elsewhere in Japan, in All Japan, we did have a tragedy. Tashin Nagayo, an All Japan Pro Wrestling talent, in his first year at the dojo, passed away at 21. He'd suffered serious injuries only a year when he struck by a tour bus, and he'd been in a critical condition. Ultimately, Sunday, the 7th of September, is when he passed. And again, it's just a shock to her because Gina, we talk about wrestling, we talk about these stars that, someone just like Tanahashi and Nagata, who've had these legendary careers, and there's someone a year out of the dojo, unfortunately. Do you know what I mean? And life's just cut too short there.
Yeah, it's truly sad when moments like this happen. Things like this happen in everyday life to everyday people, and it's so shocking when it happens to someone who is up and coming and someone that people have been watching or keeping an eye on. And yeah, it's crazy how it can happen to someone so young. And thoughts and blessings go out to him and his family.
Yeah, without a doubt. Move over to Noah, September 8th for Noah, and the start of their G1 called the N1. Well, the main event was the Noah GHC Junior Heavyweight Championship, a champion facing Hiromu Takahashi, with Takahashi getting the victory. He becomes the first New Japan wrestler to hold a title since Taichi did it 10 years ago. He also became the third New Japan wrestler to hold the title after Taiji and the legendary Jushin Thunder Liger. Obviously, I Googled it, Monty, but it is fun to watch another Japanese promotion. And it was a kind of good match, but is there, that's what I want to ask you, when it comes to other promotions working together, is this, like I said, it doesn't seem normal that Takahashi will go over there just to win a championship, if you know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean, in years past, it definitely would have been normal. I always look back to me personally as a still, even though I'm probably like a tenured fan to you guys, like I'm still a short term fan by comparison to like how long their history. I mean, we go all the way back to '72. So back in the day, of course not. They didn't meld a lot. Like I said, mentioning Shingo, who was a Dragon Gate guy, or even when Kenta was here, who was a former Noah guy. Hell, even Taiji Shimura kind of got ties to Noah before he got ties to New Japan. So usually those guys would stick where they were. It's kind of like Naito now, who's kind of a free agent but refuses to wrestle anywhere else in Japan because he's always going to be a New Japan guy. He's kind of old school in that way. But since the pandemic, to me, and that's my moment of where it felt like we were finally starting to get more into promotional work on that side when it comes to New Japan and Noah and we all know about New Japan AEW, but even Noah and WWE, all of them have kind of just started to open their doors a lot more than they would, other than having like, let's for example, New Japan always kind of had a working relationship with a Mexican promotion. Sometimes CMLL usually, but it was AAA at one point now too. So like even Impact back in the day. So they've always did different things, but in the country of Japan, that's a little bit different. Dragon Gate kind of did their own thing. Noah did their same way with the women when it came to Stardom and the Sendai Girls and all that. So they didn't really cross a lot. And now since the pandemic, when I think because the pandemic was so effective to multiple promotions, the All Japan and Noah, a lot of New Japan, they all struggled with not being able to have attendance there, and they all lost a lot of money. So what I noticed over the last 5 years post pandemic, they've all kind of had a much better working relationship and helped each other out. Whether it means just specialty matches like something we'll see Tanahashi get offered soon, or whether it's stuff like this with the GHC title. Now again, still relatively new to me to see them see belts change hands like that and watch a New Japan guy go over to Noah and actually walk away with the championship. But I do believe with how much Noah and New Japan, for example, have been working with each other in the last few years, I think I'm way more optimistic that it's a long term type of plan involved or a Wrestle Kingdom type of blow off probably being planned with this. And Hiromu's also right now, because he's not really tied to a faction, he's still signed to New Japan, but he is a free agent also in that sense, to where it's kind of like Will Despy is allowed to do stuff outside of promotion. Hiromu is allowed to do stuff outside of promotion too. So it depends on the person. It depends on the timing of it all and who they trust to work with the promotions, I think. But I do believe since the pandemic in general, and also the changing of the president guard with Tanahashi, we've seen a lot more just free reign of just trying to make the best card a lot of times so far between multiple Japanese promotions, and that's a good thing to see. Now I don't know what it would lead to or how strong these bonds are, or how much more we'll get to see. But so far, it seems to be to me a direct fallout to just helping each other keep business going post pandemic.
Yeah, without doubt. And I think you can see that. Like I said, the change in attitude, Tanahashi kind of opened up and talking about other promotions as well, even in his backstage comments and stuff like this. And he's kind of want to be open, like you said, and try and make good business. But we're going to go back to good old New Japan, September 12th. And sometimes New Japan puts on the weirdest shows. For 5 years, Shinji Champion has been New Japan's variety TV presence on TV Asahi, as well as New Japan World. The show casts a very different light of New Japan wrestlers and has entertained fans in Japan for half a decade. On September 12th, they marked the occasion with a special produced pay-per-view event. I have watched it and it was hilarious. We had a good-looking battle royal featuring Takahashi looking beautiful and the masked men battle royal. And Jaxie, I'm going to ask you this again. I know there's loads of wrestling, right? But I think when there is like extra to watch, it should be stuff like this, like a good-looking battle royal. I mean, I know McIntyre would win it in WWE, but do you know what I mean? Or stuff that's just a little bit more fun.
I think it's all about putting the right people in within that those battle royals, because I think that each person that was coming out, there is more and more intrigue, of what they could do in the ring, of who they could get at, who could potentially win it. Like you said, it's not much fun when we actually realize that we can just kind of already presume or guess the winner or the outcome.
Yeah, just fuck around a little bit,
Yeah.
September 13th, we had the Never Openweight six-man tag championship. Master Wato, Toriano, and Yo defeating El Desperado, Tanahashi, and Taguchi. Yano attacked Tanahashi as he promised the old Yano would show up, and it's a side that I haven't seen. I'll speak about it in a second. September 15th, Zack Sabre Jr. beat Ren Narita around the arena, through the crowd, and even continued into the backstage comments, which is always good. Yano and Tanahashi had a final kingship. But like I said, Monty, you got to explain to me. I didn't know Yano used to be like this, right? So he dyed his hair for the occasion, and he used to be part of the Great Bash Hill. I had no idea. This is find out like Santino used to be in like the NWO or something. I'm not sure. What is it, Monty? What's Great Bash Hill, and was he a piece of shit back in the day?
Oh, he was a total piece of shit. I mean, the Great Bash Heels and Togi, that's Togi Makabe's fashion. I mean, obviously they turned on Togi Makabe before they became Chaos. So
But that's
it's
where
kind
chaos
of
comes from then. So
that, yeah, the
that makes a little
origin
bit of
of
sense. Yeah.
Chaos. Yes, the original origin of the bad guy version of Chaos is an offshoot of Togi Makabe's Great Bash Heel. And they ran rampant. I mean, Tanahashi know for a fact. I mean, he talked about it after the match about like 23 of his 25 years he was next to Yano, and they started off as friends. Might have a drink, and then they ended up being adversaries for the next however long that was because they were always on the opposite side. I mean, even when Yano joined Chaos or when they formed Chaos, they were still bad guys torturing poor Tanahashi and Hantai. So it's always kind of been this thing underneath Yano. I'm not trying to say the black hair promotional funny guy is a fake version of him because like I think that's him too. But it's purely like it's a legit alter ego. It's everything. Everything. His no smiles.
It
He
blew
you
my
he hit
mind,
you he
man.
hit you in the
Like,
head with
you
a
know what I
chair.
mean? Like, yeah,
Right.
it's
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah, yeah. I mean, the big power bomb that he does more of his amateur wrestling background that he never really shows when he's the opportunistic Yano. But yeah, man, Yano can't will and was known for being one of those guys that would kill you. Now, again, the Great Bash Heels in general were kind of like that for a time, especially when Maccabee was on top and he was the world champion. But yeah, man, they GBH. Those are some. I wouldn't say good times if you were the baby faces, of course, but like you had Giant Bernard, which is Guess whose John Bernard is? Matt Bloom.
Yeah.
Or Albert for people
For
who
A
may not
Train,
know.
yeah,
Yeah,
big
OA
head, yeah.
train. Right. You had Gato and which Gato and Jado were both in it, which kind of lets you know how it became
Wow.
chaos. But then you got Low Key. We know what Low Key was about. If you ever seen him fight, he was stepping on you and kicking the shit out of you. And Carl Anderson, before he became lazy and didn't give a damn, it was just Carl Anderson, young Carl Anderson. Shinsuke Nakamura, again, that strong style. All of these guys, Ishii, Yano, even somehow Val Venus was there. Honma, we got not gonna focus on him, but
No, but I love that
Honma,
about New Japan because it always, even nowadays when we look back, it will be like, oh, Suji and Chase Owens. Do you know what I mean? There's always going to
right,
be one.
right. Or my favorite piece of trivia of the first Intercontinental Champion in New Japan being MVP.
Yes, yeah, brilliant. Yeah.
No one would assume MVP was there, but no, it was MVP.
Uh,
But yeah, so yeah, man, Honma was also there. So a lot of the tandems and things that you see, Iska, who I think made an appearance with his claw, he was also a
yes, yeah.
GBH. Yeah. He was a GBH member. And he only got worse because they let him in Suzuki going with Tai Chi, and he used to run crazy. So anyway, yeah, Great Bash Heels caused a lot of chaos for a long time. They were a
Wow.
big bad faction, and yeah, man, they used to go at it with Tanahashi back in the day. So it was a nice little flashback for people who remember, that late 2000s era or mid to late 2000s era when you only kind of had Nagata and Tenzan and Kojima and Tanahashi trying to battle against all of those great bad shields that I just kind of told you about. So it was an interesting time, very interesting time. But yeah, that became the Shinsuke Nakamura slash Gato led chaos that became the thing that birthed Okada. So it's kind of a
Mm,
gradual thing, but GBH still lives on with Makabe. He never left GBH. They left him. He made chaos. But yeah,
wow.
so whenever Yano wants to tap back into that he's going back to his old days as a great bash heel, and that's a precursor to the kind of goofball salesman that we kind of got out of him later in his career. Which, if you look up, you would think is because, oh yeah, he did so many death matches and all. No, Yano just said it's easier to wrestle this way. That's the only.
Yeah, that's how I know him, though. This is the crazy
Yeah,
thing. Like, yeah,
yeah.
him and
So,
Taguchi, yeah, it's
right
crazy.
now,
Um,
Taguchi, I don't think he did not just start. I have no origin change for him. As far as I've ever known Taguchi, he's been throwing his ass around.
It's crazy. I mean, Gina, it's great to find out these kind of weird things. I said weird fact, great facts from Monty. If we talk about it. But and also by the sounds of it, it sounds like they're going all out for Tanahashi's last year. Do you know what I mean? Like they're giving us everything, even like the stuff from maybe a couple of decades ago.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, again, even though I still say that I've recently got into New Japan, I still don't know a lot of this history behind, Tadahashi and a lot of the other veteran wrestlers that are in New Japan. So it's always great to hear it from Monty because he kind of explains it for dummies. Because I know, like, obviously they give you some like backstories a lot of the time when they're commentating on matches, but
Mm.
hearing about some of the previous stuff, it's not like I can religiously watch New Japan every week to just hear some fun facts of the past. So it's always great to hear. And
Yeah,
I do
without a
think
doubt.
that they're going all out for Tanahashi. I think that is kind of warranted, though. He's such a big deal with the Japan community that I don't see it being a quiet year at all for his last year.
Are you surprised by how, because it's like so we're getting into it pretty late? Are you surprised just how big a deal Tanahashi is? Do you know what I mean? After this kind of year retirement and stuff, like shit, he was kind of
I
generational.
I am for sure. Like as a fan that's recently come into New Japan, what, 4 or 5 years ago now, I've started from. So again, I don't know a lot of the history behind a lot of the veterans. I did think that Tanahashi was quite put over, in my opinion. Again, I'm used to American wrestling. That's all I've kind of grown up on. So adjusting to the way that New Japan works and the way that they carry their wrestlers was totally new to me. So I did think in the beginning, this guy is so over. I don't understand why, blah, blah, blah. But each time I watch a new event, each time Monty lays down some new knowledge about stuff about him, about others, it makes me appreciate it so much more. And you can tell like it's such a different kind of culture with the New Japan wrestling compared to like the American scene and the way that they kind of like, promote their more popular wrestlers, I guess,
Yeah. Yeah, without a doubt. As for the match, it was a cool concept. We had a 6-man, and then after a 4, we had a tag team match, and then if needed, it was a singles with El Desperado, Tanahashi, and Taguchi defeating the most violent heel players, which was Toriano, Honma, Maccabi, with the high fly flow on Yano. And then September 24th, Hiroshi Tanahashi defeated Master Wato in their first ever match. The Ace got the win with the high fly flow. But how cool is this, Jaxie? You know, like we talk about Tanahashi's last year, and I know we're going to talk about him a lot, but he gifted the sling blade to Master Wato, who was just like, you can
Yeah,
have this move now, you know?
yeah. I mean, again, I think that was another thing that just to add up from what my sister was talking about in terms of just getting updated via commentary and through yourselves on certain small little facts. So, hearing this is the first time Master Wato and Tanahashi had ever faced each other one-on-one. That's got to be a real privilege for Master Wato to actually be able to received that just before Tanahashi's retirement. But also, this is how you do a retirement tour. And it's not to say that what WWE aren't currently doing with John Cena's retirement tour hasn't impacted fans and wrestlers alike, because it has. But like it's taken over half a year to actually get to where we should have been at the very start of his like sort of send off tour. So it I think that's one thing I can appreciate from having gone through and watched a lot of what a lot of these matches that you're discussing, and also just kind of going back to what you said. We know that this is probably like a big, massive, sort of Tanahashi discussion throughout this current pod because of like the retirement tour. But this is how you do a retirement tour well. You showcase new talent. See Tanahashi sort of passing on his own moves and ensuring his legacy going forward within a wrestling business, like to New Japan. So anyone, going forward who is following Tanahashi's final year, you're getting a chance to see like him pass these moves on that I already know that I now can't wait to see Master Wato use, in future matches, and actually think back to Tanahashi. This is how you solidify and cement your legacy. And I think that this is the right way to do it.
Yeah, that. And again, I mean, we're talking about September at this moment in time, and Tanahashi's been on every show as well. Do you know what I mean? Every road to, every night, even with the G1, the tag team matches and the undercard,
Exactly. Like he could have just sat on commentary and just been cushioned, just had like a nice sort of reminiscent discussion about all of his previous sort of G1s himself. Instead, he was there working with new young talent, even in matches that weren't really necessarily like important to the G1 climax or overall, and yet like there's this man just actually putting over and working with younger talent. It's very humbling to see. And do you know what, this isn't me sniping at John Cena either, because I know that John would love to actually work with a lot of new talent before his retirement as well. But I think that there's like a mixture of more dedication coming from Tanahashi as this currently and still at the moment being like his full-time career, whereas John is obviously dabbling in other things such as acting and stuff, which may cause his schedule not to allow him to be this available as Tanahashi. So I'm not trying to compare completely, but what is a major difference is the care and the love that is being shown from creative in New Japan to how to handle this retirement tour compared to what started out as John's retirement tour,
Yeah, without a doubt. No, I think you're absolutely right there. And again, it would be interesting to see what Tanahashi does with so little time left, And Master Wato said he wants to graduate to Grandmaster, much like Grandmaster Sexay did. Things haven't calmed down between Shingo and Gabe. When Narita attacked the leg of Zack Sabre Jr. with a chair, everyone's bottom smells from time to time was Taguchi's message, but he wants people to tell him if he smells. I mean, Monty, that's a way of getting people in the building, isn't it? You know what I mean? I mean, it might work. I mean, Taguchi just like, come and smell my bum. I was tempted.
As someone who's watched him throw that bomb around for years, I don't think it smells the best. But I'll leave that to the wrestlers to decide. So I'll leave that to them. They can let us know. But yeah, I mean that's just Taguchi. That's the best way to describe him. I think if you really wanted to describe Taguchi in a few words, you could just be like one of the best technical wrestlers New Japan had to offer, who also wanted to see what his butt smelled like.
Yeah, that's all we want to know. Then we got the IWGP Junior Heavyweight Tag Team Championships, House of Torture, which was Doki and Sho defeating the Ichiban Sweet Boys of Kiji Fujita and Robbie Eagles, and then El Desperado defeated Yo with the IWGP Junior Heavyweight Championship on the line. I mean, poor Yo came up short, and Doki confronted El Desperado afterwards. Despi told him if he was alone, he would accept now, but he wasn't, which again, I mean, Gina, we talk about Doki. I'm going to get it right. Doki Pokey Stick. As long as I remember that, I can get his name right. We saw Doki and El Desperado at Wrestle Kingdom at the start of the year, obviously with Doki getting his injury, and now he's come back as part of the dark side, and, with El Desperado there. I mean, is this the right choice for him to accept the House of Torture into his life?
I mean, I don't know, because again, it makes you question, like, was this the way that he wanted his character to go ahead of this year? Did he have that idea? I would like to go heel, so eventually my character can merge into this, then gets the injury and is like, that's it, I'll come back straight as a heel, or whether they just thought it was a good idea once he was ready to come back. Yeah, we'll just chuck you in with the House of Torture because they're peak at the moment, so you'll be peak with them, sort of thing, so it is a question of whether this is where they were always planning for Doki's character to go. I don't know whether it's right or wrong for him at the moment, because again, like, House of Torture are quite peak at the moment, so it might be a good move to keep him there, because people are going to be talking about him and his return, especially because they're always talking about House of Torture right now. But also, is the cloud of House of Torture going to overshadow just Doki in general and who he is, make him a side character rather than the main character he was trying to be?
And also affect his wrestling ability, because we know what the House of Torture does.
There's no
for
bad
sure.
side to the House of Torture. Watch your mouth, Joe.
Anyway, we'll go September 28th, Destruction in Kobe. The show opened with a 10-man tag match that saw the team of Sho Umino, Yuri Uemura, Yoshihashi, El Desperado, and Yo defeat a House Torture contingent. See, they didn't do very well there, did they? Doki, Sho, Dick, Evil, and Sanada. Doki does want a junior heavyweight title match. Tanahashi defeated the Great Okan, and then he accepted an offer from Pro Wrestlers Noah, Kaito Kimiura. I'm sorry about the names if I get this wrong. And he wants to fight him on Noah, which Tanahashi accepted. But again, I mean, this is the thing, Jaxie, isn't it? We talk about someone like Great Khan as well. We might not mention much, but I think he was in a position maybe a year ago when we were speaking of like, he might break out and, a match against Tanahashi, but he hasn't done much. And obviously United Empire haven't had a good year either, have they,
Yeah, I mean, to be honest, like, I think that he is one of the persons that I realized has been kind of slightly missing off of this sort of uh, send off tour for Tanahashi. I thought maybe there'd be some form of like one-on-one or potentially even a feud, just because we know what Great O'Connor is like and his pride and everything like that. And I could just see him being like, no, you're not allowed to retire, Tanahashi, until I beat you, like one-on-one or something like that. He's been rather quiet along with United Empire. I don't know whether or not that's due to injury, due to maybe certain individuals wanting to get pushed, or even like I know that there was a lot of drama, wasn't there, between a lot of the gang of United Empire, which is a real shame, because it feels like as a sort of group, I think they've kind of slowly but surely ended up going a lot more downhill since the departure of Will Ospreay compared to that of like the Bullet Club War Dogs, who are pretty much thriving not only under like the new leadership with David Finlay. From what I've seen, I'm not watching it weekly, but I'm enjoying, still seeing them as a big group and what they can do. But also, I think that certain individuals are being pushed, like, Drilla Maloney, and even Clark Connors, who stands out a lot as well. And, there's still like a closeness between them as a group, as a faction. So, yeah, it's a bit weird that Great Okan's really kind of been quite quiet within the sort of Tanahashi tour at the moment, because I'd have thought like he would make his presence known quite a bit to Tanahashi,
It's weird how it happens, isn't it? We think wrestlers or certain groups are going to break out, and then they have the
Yeah,
right year. And like I said, we'll see
yeah.
what happens. Maybe 2026 will be their year. In the first title match of the evening, Bolton Oleg defeating Don Farley to retain the Never Openweight Championship. But of course, Evil attacked Oleg afterwards and laid him out with Everything is Evil, signaling his intention to challenge for the title. But Gina, I'm just so impressed with Bolton Oleg. I mean, Don Farley, another one of these guys where, hey, I don't know who he is. He's just a big guy who can't move. I'm sure maybe back in the day, do you know what I mean? But Bolton to be able to like pick him up and throw him is just so impressive. That man has got so much potential.
Yeah, for sure. I definitely noticed Bolton Oleg a lot more this G1 this year around. And just noticed how kind of like, Hulk like he was being portrayed. And yeah, just seeing him pick Don Farley up, like Don Farley is a big guy. So seeing that, it kind of puts Bolton even higher on the map, and just makes you think, shit, if he could do that, what else can he do?
Yeah, I cannot wait to see. I cannot wait until again, I don't want to say anybody turn heel, but I can't wait for him to be like an angry Bolton Oleg and to just power through people. But I'm sure that
Just let loose.
just a monster, like he don't care. If he dies, he dies. That that's what I want. The IWGP Tag Team Championships changed hands as Oscar and Yoto Ice, the Knockout Brothers, defeated Tomohiro Ishii and Tai Chi. Of course, the challengers recently returned from excursion and joined with the I say the War Dogs as it is, and they got the victory after Shota Umino and Yuri Uemura confronted the new champions and issued a challenge. So there you have it. I mean, Monty, is this the start of a new generation for the tag team division? The titles have changed hands so many times in this past year. I don't think one set of tag champions have had one successful title defense.
Yeah, I mean, well, we had Yoshihashi and Goto dominate and be by far the best team that had to offer, but we know injuries and Goto's singles push and a lot of other things probably are at play for why that's not necessarily going to be the case. Going forward, and I think the bright spot for the tag division in that regard to me currently is the fact that it's getting younger. The challengers champions are now, two guys who are basically fresh off excursion, and they're hungry, they're ready to prove, that they're for real. So that's cool. And then you have a refocused or like a now a different focus for Shota Umino and then Uemura, who for some reason their body language when they talk don't seem like they really like they click. They keep saying, we gonna be the leaders of Honda now that Tanahashi gone. Honda gonna go through us. So that's kind of how this team is formed, is based on that type of camaraderie. But it doesn't really feel like they like each other either, which is kind of funny to me when you really look at their body language. But at the same time, I think it's a healthy respect there, and I think I do like them being a team for now, and I like that being the focus. Not saying that Shota needed to kind of be out of the heavyweight picture, but I do love looking at a different side of him, and not to mention Utah Ice has mentioned that Uemura when he was a young lion, his very first match, I think either he got injured by Uemura or I don't know, maybe Uemura roughed him up. Either way it goes, Utah Ice don't like Uemura, and he thinks Shota Umino is faking being a tough guy. So it's kind of I like the energy here. I think we have potential for this being a nice little rivalry, or at least. I'm not gonna act like I know whether or not Oscar and Ice can keep the belts when they face these guys, and or like it's just gonna be the first long run we've had since Goto and Yoshihashi's dominant run on top. But I do love the tag division getting a little bit younger, getting and getting some freshness to it because I think that's really what it needed. And it'd be interesting to see where the tag division is going into not only tag league but this next year too in general because it feels like like you said we're on the cusp of something different as far as that division goes. But we'll see if I'm right or if I'm just guessing.
Yeah, Bishman can't keep winning, can they? But again, Utah
Yeah,
is like a real throwback as well. I wouldn't be surprised in a few years' time if he's up, fighting for top titles as well. Because there is something different about him. And again, when he finishes with like big up, stay hype and that, I'm like, yeah, I'm into it. Interpromotional championship match, Hiromu Takahashi made his first successful defense of the GHC Junior Heavyweight title against Taji Ishimori in a fast-paced matchup, and he got challenged by, I'm going to say, Aita afterwards and declared for Wrestle Odyssey on October 11th. Yota Tsuji was victorious over David Finlay in a special singles match. The physical contest built to the outside multiple times and saw both men trade high impact offense. Finlay appeared to injure his knee, and Tsuji weathered the storm, put Finlay away with the Gene Blaster. I mean, Jaxie, does this tell us where each are at this moment in time in New Japan, really, with maybe Yota Tsuji heading on his way up in Finlay? Maybe not heading on the way down, but staying where he is, if you know what I mean.
Yeah, like I mean, to be honest, like without like when I say this comparison, this is a very loose comparison, but like you see what uh David Finley's going through right now, and it kind of reminds me similar to what like Roman is in terms of like not necessarily being sort of a considered a strong contender right now for like the main title belt, even though he is of that caliber, but just really like working different feuds and whether or not he's successful in them or not is actually impacting those that he's working with. So, for example, Bronson Reed with Roman, like getting that one win over Roman has really, you know, picked up Bronson Reed's uh potential excitement or potential push or run. And I feel like it's the same with David Finlay, and especially when it comes to Yota Tsuji right now. And like the more and more they fight, the more Tsuji looks good. It's not that David Finlay is looking worse off, but he's just doing so well with putting someone like Yota Tsuji over and really like solidifying him to be a strong contender within the main title division.
Yeah, without a doubt. I completely agree with you there. Like I said, Suji is just looking special at this moment in time as well, which I suppose is good, the time of year as we head towards Wrestle Kingdom. In the semi-main event, Gabe Kidd retained the IWGP Global Heavyweight Championship in a wild brawl against Shingo. I mean, this was just fantastic. Following his victory, Kidd was challenged by Yota Tsuji for a title match at King of Pro Wrestling. But Gina, I mean, we've been making comparisons. I mean, Shingo is the Sheamus of New Japan. You just put him in there and it's banger after banger, especially with someone like Gabe, who maybe has not had the best year, shall we say, after how it started.
Yeah, definitely. And it did feel like it was like a bit of a shaky year for Gabe, up and down, even in the AEW scene. It's like, in and out, in and out. And it was kind of inconsistent and not knowing where it was going to be. Whereas, yeah, Shingo has just been, killing it in every single match that he's been in. And you would think that is kind of like his retirement tour in some ways because of some of the matches he's pulled off.
Yeah, without a doubt. No, Shingo is fantastic. And the match was really good with Gabe. The main event was Zack Sabre Jr. defeating Ren Narita to retain the World Heavyweight Championship. It started as a technical showcase, Paul Narita began to ruthlessly target Sabre's knee. And we've got Monty, we've got multiple interference on the House of Torture. You think this is fine for an IWGP heavyweight title match, It's just terrible. I just don't know how you do it, I don't know how you put up with it. Obviously, Narita went down, and then we know that Takeshita is up next at King of Pro Wrestling.
Well, we aren't called House of Make James Happy. First of all, second of all, you do what you have to do to win. It don't always work, but more often than not. And if you see the great recruiting pitches. I've been working on recruiting pitches with the guys, and it's obviously working. We got a quarter of the roster, so you can sit over there and you can root for all the boys out there that's working harder and not smarter, and I'll root for the smart guys. It didn't work out for Red and Rita this time. It's like every now and then it don't work out, but I thought at the end of the day, it was good to see Ren in the world title scene. And I also think that he didn't feel forced. You can say whatever you want about, and again, I'm not one of those guys who don't like shows, even though he just so happened to be the unfortunate example of someone who I feel like people believe has been forced. And Ren Rita, whether you like how he got it or how they execute the matches when it comes to House of Torture or not, he did look like he belonged there in both of his encounters, the G1 and this one, with Zack Sabre Jr. So I give him that. But as far as the interference goes, it's just one of those things to where it's like, why the hell would I join a faction with 14 other people if they not gonna help me?
All right, okay, I've got another one. So Jaxie, help me out here. But Red Narita doesn't need the House of Torture. Do you know he's good enough on his own? We've seen it. They're
Uh,
bringing him down, man.
I don't know. I like this. I like to be honest, like again, I'm very new to like
good
sort
idea.
of I'm very green, like 4 or 5 years into sort of New Japan.
Mhm.
But like seeing sort of Ren join the House of Torture, I didn't think that this was like a good fit. But slowly but surely, I've become a fan like Monty, and like to see how Ren is now kind of almost become sort of leadership material around
Mhm.
the House of Torture. I love their dynamic. I love their um camaraderie. Um, they kind of
Mhm.
started to win me over.
All
Yeah,
right, we'll
see, I
move
knew, I
on.
knew I liked her.
We'll
I knew I
move on.
liked.
No, I know, okay.
I might end up being initiated into the House of Torture
Oh
if Monty
God.
puts a good word in for me. So, I've got to be on his best behavior.
Yeah, I have my people call your people.
October 4th, Standard Row 2 shows filled with tags. The main event was Takahashi, Shingo, and Suji with Titan defeating the Bullet Club War Dogs. And Titan has joined the unaffiliated now. October 6th, Driller has been planning Sanada's funeral. Evil made Bolton shine up the never openweight title for him. Shooter Umino defeated Oscar. Yuri Uemura defeated Yuto Ice. So obviously it looks like a tag match is going to come. Then the IWGP Junior Heavyweight title. It's Doki versus El Desperado. With the official down, I'm going to say Kukai rushed to Desperado's aid, his new friend, back from the scourge of Mexico to even the odds. But in the confusion, Doki grabbed his steel pipe, only for Desperado to turn the tables, landing a shot, followed by the Pinche Loco. But the official was down. Show struck again, used the steel plate to batter Desperado's skull. Doki capitalized, clinching the darkness stretch to force the referee's call, stealing the victory and the title. My God, I am in shock. Double champion Doki. I mean,
Mm.
man, can I just say what a run for Despe this has been, And
I honestly didn't see that coming though. So I was kind of like, okay, fair play, Doki. This is why you turned heel because you were like, I get shit done. Now look at me, I'm a double champ.
yeah, but it shouldn't be. I'm not. That's not how it shouldn't. That shouldn't work, And it should be a straight up wrestling match, and we just didn't get it.
Oh my gosh!
I,
Look at you! You was just complaining about
I'm
why
just
he
thinking, look at
joined.
this old man. What are the men that we
Hey,
call Karens? Look
come
at
on!
him complaining.
You're just
all
wondering
right.
why he joined, and then you see the results, and now it's like, I wanted a straight up match.
I
Come
just,
on, James.
I just wanted what
No,
we
do you know
didn't
what
have
it
at
is?
Wrestle
All
Kingdom.
he's thinking is, well, Drew didn't get these opportunities. That's all he's thinking about. Is because,
We're in New
Mm,
Japan. We're in New
yeah.
Japan, all right.
they do need the House of Torture.
She
Yeah,
hit a soft spot there.
yeah. Get his name out your mouth. Anyway, move on. October 7th, with Taji Ishimori's self-produced superhuman Taji Ishimori gets even more ridiculous. It featured 2-hour rumble with Ishimori involved the whole night. I mean, it was just a fun detour. Ishimori won. And again, I'm not saying go and check it out, but if you have got time, it's fun, and credit to Ishimori. October 9th, another Road 2. The main event was Titan Takahashi, Shingo, Yotsuji defeating the War Dogs. October 11th, New Japan, Sanada accepted Driller's challenge for no rules match. Maloney still used Sanada's guitar as a weapon. Gina, I'll ask you this, right? I mean, Sanada, I don't know if he's the sharpest knife in a drawer, because if someone's planning your funeral, would you really want a match against them? Do you know what I mean? I'm not sure, because Driller's pretty happy about making the funeral arrangements.
I mean, I definitely feel like Sanada's not the brightest bulb in New Japan. I do feel like he's one of those guys who comes up with an idea and just runs with it right away, not think of any repercussions, not having a plan B, C, D, or E. He's just like, no, we're going with this straight away, and he doesn't think about it. And yeah, I think he also underestimates some of his opponents, aka Driller, straight up.
Yeah, but even like, okay, I'll give you the match. You won't smash my guitar, and Driller's like, okay, and then Driller smashes the guitar. It's like, Sonata, mate, you're getting it all wrong, But we'll see. He might be
We
successful.
don't we don't pay that man to thank. You see how he looks? Thank you.
And you were told by Monty right there.
Yeah. The main event was the IWGP Junior Heavyweight Tag Team Championships, House of Torture, which is Doki and Show defeating El Desperado and Kukai. That's Despy's new mate. I don't know what Kukai calls his fans, but apparently a lot of Americans are interested in joining the Kukai clan right now. I'm not really sure. But much like
Lord, no.
what, I thought that was good. I thought that was good. I thought, should I leave it in or not? Yes, I will, because it's topical. Anyway, much like when Doki won the junior heavyweight title, it was a Black Mirror that worked. October 11th, Noah Wrestle Odyssey. There was a poster of Kenta just as an astronaut, Jaxie. Just as an astronaut, just there. It was great. We don't get posters like that anymore.
Brilliant. Yeah, no, I mean, the originality of I would, who'd have thought, and it just worked.
It just worked.
Give me more of this.
But that's not why we're here. Charlie Dempsey and Harlem Lewis defeated Jack Morris and Oka Sasaki, which was interesting to see. Tanahashi and Kaito Kimura defeated I can't even do it. Keno, Mayu Fuji, and then we got Hiromu Takahashi defeating, I want to say, Aita. EITA, Monty. That's Aita, isn't it? Eita?
Yeah. You can say Aita, Aita. I've heard it both ways.
Aita, and Kenta defended his world heavyweight title in the main event. But what I found funny, he was talked about, the relationship. New Japan wins again. Do you know what I mean? It's not just WWE does this to TNA. New Japan's like, if our boys run the show, we're going to win.
It's not politics, bro. It's just I'm pretty sure we got the most money. So
yeah, exactly. Yeah. And then we've got Junta Miyawaki. I do apologize about these names. He came down and attacked Amuska, his former tag team partner, who'd been teaming with Hiromu, chatting, asked for a title shot. Hiromu said that he'd give him a non-title singles match, and if he beat him, he'd get a title match. Classic Takahashi. And then October 13th, it was the King of Pro Wrestling, which calls main event from Takeshita versus Zack Sabre Jr. We got Sayuri recapturing the IWGP Women's Championship in the opening bout of the night, avenging a loss from early in the year against Sari in a hard-hitting 15-minute match. Sari gave Sayuri trouble with a series of Uranagis, but she managed to get the win. Sayuri was trained by Tajiri, I think that was right. And Monty, I do know Sari was in NXT, and her entrance was muted due to copyright, and she did get some boos as well. So I don't know if she's a heel now or what's going on.
I don't know. I can't really explain it. As far as like why she was getting booed. To be fair, she is kind of like a not freelancer, but like she's booking. She's kind of like what Oscar kind of laid down. She's booking her own shows, selling out her own arenas. So she's not really affiliated with anybody, but they do use her because she's just that. She's basically the best women's wrestler in the world. If you really look at what she's been doing, like since leaving NXT and kind of just shedding all of the funk from the goofiness that 2.0 had her doing. She's been like a completely different animal, and she's extremely aggressive in the ring. Sayuri is one of the best, always been one of the best in the world. So this is a great little tandem to see, kind of go at it. I'm glad they got a chance to do it. I can't really explain the booze. I don't know if it's I don't because I don't when I look at her or when I see her doing her thing, she doesn't feel like she's doing anything to be like she's not like Saya Kamatani who is complete like who's like a complete opposite of what she used to be. Obviously a heel, but when it comes to Saray, it's kind of weird in that regard. But I can see how though because she does fight very still. She beats the hell out of those girls. So if you want to say that's a heel just because of that, then sure. But I don't think she's doing anything heelish. But anyway, it was still great to see those two in this match. And again, 15 minutes. I always wish I could get more because I know it's another level both girls can go to. But for what we're used to getting on these cards, this is really good.
Yeah, I mean, again, if I had more time, and I really don't, then
Right.
Stardom and stuff like that would literally be my next kind of thing to watch. So again, it is nice to see him on these shows because again, we might not see it that often. We got David Finlay, Clark Connors, and Taji Shimori defeating Hirumi Takahashi, Shingo, and Titan. With Finn got the pin on Titan, but there seems to be respect between the unaffiliated and the War Dogs. And Jaxie, I hope so, because do you know how difficult it is to spell unaffiliated as well after a while? What are your thoughts between these two groups seemingly might be merging?
I mean, there's definite intrigue there, you know. I mean, I think I'm trying to think back to when Jay White was sort of like leading or running like sort of Bullet Club, and how difficult it was really to be kind of like accepted as a new member at all. So to potentially get like a merging of more of different wrestlers who I wouldn't have ever kind of pictured to potentially merge with the Bullet Club. I'm intrigued. I want to see how this works. I want to see if it can work, you know?
Yeah,
They've
it
never
seems
got
odd.
like Bullet Club, like the Bullet Club have never been the type to like warm to other factions or actually be open to like, you know, adding to their ranks unless they were severely depleted. So it's very interesting to see sort of like this new dynamic since Jay White's left and sort of David Finley's running it now, and just seeing how so sort of much more open they are to considering other allies.
Yeah. Or is he? I mean, that's the
Or
question.
yeah,
Is Finley running things? You know what I mean? Or
I mean,
is something putting strings behind?
there is also, you know, like is like Ghetto is very much like that slimy little Paul Heyman type, too poor fast one, you know. So there's definitely intrigue to really figure out what's going on behind closed doors here.
Yeah, without a doubt.
James being messy, by the way. Go ahead.
Anyway, up next, Sonata wore a mirrored jumpsuit to his funeral. Notice made his way to his ring, made the way to the ring wearing speakers on his jacket and Dalmatian hair. What was more impressive, he managed to pick up a bag with his guitar, and
He
it
looked like
took
an idiot.
ages.
He
Yeah, but the
really did.
bag in the guitar though was just like, how did it actually get in there? And then the
You know
untying and
what?
stuff.
I really cannot help myself in thinking that like he's taking a lot of inspiration. Now, this isn't meant to be taken offensively at all, but I can't help but feel like Sonata's taken inspiration from the likes of like Dalton Castle and potentially a little bit of MXM as well.
Ouch! Oh, you've
Just
got
in
the
terms of like the most ridiculous of outfits like being combined and like it's just completely I shouldn't be shocked by some of these outfits that he comes out in anymore, you know?
yeah,
But the
exactly. Yeah.
speakers was just something I don't know what he was doing.
Well, Driller fulfilled his wish to bash a guitar over the head of Sonada and then connected with the Driller Killer for the pinfall. We did see an image on social media with Maloney showing need numerous stitches to close the cut he suffered on his head during the match. But Gina, for me, Driller is a true heavyweight now, and I think he's one to watch next year because he has come on leaps and bounds. He seems ready to break out.
For sure. Again, he is another one that I kind of noticed during the G1 that I was like, maybe he is one to keep an eye on. So seeing this coming out of the G1, I'm like, yeah, he's definitely being pushed for sure. And I'm not mad at it because he looks like he could definitely sort of handle being in that, you know, top division.
Yeah, without doubt. And it was a great match. It truly was a riot in Ryogoku. We got Hiroka Goto, Yoshihashi, and Yo defeating Hartley Jackson, Koji Fujita, and Ryo Oiwa. That's right. Goto is back. But they didn't really mention it, Monty. I mean, again, maybe I'm a little bit surprised. Maybe it was elsewhere. But if this was like WWE, it'd be like the former champion back this Monday. And instead, he's just on like a 6-man tag match. And I'm going, fuck, it is him. He is back.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's kind of like one of those differences. Uh, not to say that they do this for everybody, because like I do think certain guys probably would get more of a focus, but it's just like uh they try to treat it like not always, but like some things that the company do. Like the only thing they really did was just say send out a little New Japan press release that scared everybody half to death because you think somebody done got released or injured, and just letting everybody know they could go to return from injury. But other than that, they didn't really do much. They didn't make a big deal. I'm not sure if it's because they wanted, you know, the main event to be the main event, be kind of undisturbed or what, or like not have, I don't know if they want how they want to do it. I think American wrestling, for example, what you just point out, they kind of guide you to pops more in a lot of ways in wrestling and in like what you mentioned, drill it in your head. This guy will be back in 2 weeks. This guy will be back in the next segment. This guy will be, you know what I mean? They love to drill that type of thing to make the maximum reaction for the moment. While New Japan kind of don't really present it that way. They don't really care to really shock you all the time. That's why when they actually do something shocking, it's truly like, wow, they did that. So, but yeah, I think it's just kind of like a little bit like cultural difference thing. But or you can look at it this way. If you don't think that's the good answer, you also can look at it like, go. They just stuck Goto right back to where Goto is. Like his heavyweight run was great, but it's like but we need you here, and you can just all. I really do feel like that's the only reason why it took so long for Goto to get to the top. Is that he's always been so plug-inable and like useful, and like he doesn't really rock the boat. He'll do anything they ask him, and I think that's kind of like why he doesn't really get the big deal. That if again, if this is like Okada or even Naito or whatever, you probably wouldn't get a big grand entrance. Big, it might have even been after the main event. But yeah, for Goto, just actually as surprising as it probably should be, like you mentioned, Jane, it actually don't surprise me at all because that's just how Goto's always been kind of treated. His music hits and he just goes up there and does his thing.
Yeah, we're like, you were here yesterday? He goes, yeah, I've been here. I've not gone anywhere.
Right.
Right, okay, well,
No, I never was hurt. I'm not talking about.
carry on. We saw a back and forth battle between El Fantasmo and Hiroshi Tanahashi. Ended with a 15-minute time limit set with the TV title on the line. Another great matchup that we've seen. And Jaxie, again, we talk about Tanahashi, seems to be, performing above and beyond at this moment in time. And what was nice as well, the respect between him and El Fantasmo, and they're going to be partners on the tag league as well. So you can tell they really care for each
Yeah.
other.
Yeah, it was really lovely to just see sort of showmanship or just even respect within the ring. And it's not to say that, other sort of Western promotions don't show that same sort of respect, but I think in terms of like uh showing respect towards the person they are, what they've done for the division and everything like that, this just kind of really fit well. And as you said, this really did also kind of build excitement towards them teaming together. This is something that I didn't know. I didn't think that like seeing them like together they would look good as a tag team, but I actually can see it, and I think this will do nothing but just progress ELP and do so much great work with Tanahashi just before he leaves.
Yeah, without a doubt. Oleg Bolton faced Evil with the Never Openweight title on the line. The House of Torture leader had stolen the title but left as the rightful champion after nonsense and Doki with a pipe which made everything evil. I mean, Gina, are you happy about this? Poor Bolton got laid out by Evil. Evil didn't need this championship.
I mean, I'm not really surprised with the way that Evil has been booked recently and how things have gone. I'm truly not surprised that this is the way it went. But yeah, it was quite harsh to watch. I was like, poor Oleg, this is where the Hulk needs to break out.
Hulk sad. Do you know what I mean? Come on, Hulk. But yeah, it's horrible. We did get a first glimpse of Aaron Wolf, his debut match. Former Olympic judoka went face to face with Evil, and Wolf will have his debut at Wrestle Kingdom next month. He hit the ring to make the save. Monty, how? Again, are they just trying something different here with Aaron Wolf? Is he a really big deal in Japan? Do you know what I mean? Because there's been a lot of talk about this. I think to get Evil in his first match at Wrestle Kingdom, it's pretty big.
Thank you for that, by the way. Thank you for highlighting the
The
greatest of
title's
all
not on the
time.
line, thank fuck.
Right, and it shouldn't be because he just got here. The greatest of all time. He is in the ring with Evil. That just shows you the trust. It just shows you just how good Evil is. Once again, I know you probably asking about somebody else, but Evil is the you know once again on top. Once again a champion. I can't believe it. My leader, he was just he's it's just so much respect for him, man. As far as that other guy goes, he just better watch who he's stepping to. And I saw him try to intimidate Evil. First of all, ain't nobody afraid of him. Nobody afraid of this kid. He's a judoka, he's world championship, Budapest. Who cares? Olympics, who cares? Who cares, man? That's the Olympics. He gonna have to do something in the ring at Wrestle Kingdom to Evil, and we'll see. He might get a judo throw in every now and then. He might throw Evil once, just once, but Evil's gonna take care of him like he always does. Is it a big deal? I don't know. I didn't know a lot about him. I just know he's a gold medalist. It's kind of like unnasty man version of old boy Stevenson. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. It's like all the hype was Gabe Stevenson had, but no scandal, and they seem to be very excited. He just hit the ropes not too long ago. So you're 100% right. I don't know about him being a big deal because again, I can't tell you what he can do, but I do think them giving him that spot in that match against a guy like Evil. He just like literally hit the ropes for the first time in June. So we're already here in January and they're putting him in this spotlight. So all eyes are gonna be on him. I hope he swims. I hope he does. I don't want him to go out there and drown. I want him to do good. I'm optimistic that he will because I don't think they will put him in that spot. We see how long the young lion process is, and I'm gonna tell you, this Utah Ice is a perfect example because when he was a young lion, didn't really care too much. Didn't notice him a lot, but he went away from discouragement, worked his butt off, and now you see the finished product. I can even say the same thing for Suji to an extent. Like I thought he wanted to be there, but I didn't think he would be what he became, and he got there. So for them to not even put him in the young lion basically on TV mode, and he kind of just graduates into a feud with Evil or a spot with Evil, it's really exciting to see what he may already have up his sleeve. So we'll see how that works out. Either way it goes, I don't think we will be granting any flukes though. House of Torture will walk out of Wrestle Kingdom on top. I just want to let you know ahead of time.
Yeah, no, but again, like you said, if it was WWE, you expect him to win, but it just seems weird. I don't know how many young lions have had their debut match at Wrestle Kingdom, so it seems This could be negative
Not
and
many.
positive depending on them. You know what I mean? So it'll be interesting. As for like I said, Bolton, who lost, he's ready for the next stage in his career. The Knockout Brothers scored their first major victory as the tag team champions, overcoming Shota Umino and Uemura in a competitive 15-minute battle. This was actually a really good match, Jaxie. We talk about tag teams in New Japan has been lacking recently. But as we've mentioned with the Knockout Brothers, it's something new and exciting, and I quite like it.
Yeah, I mean, again, this is it was a match that I didn't actually expect to be like a decent tag match, so to speak. A lot or like hold much weight, but it was extremely entertaining all the way from beginning to end of the match, to be honest. And I thought they all worked really well together, like not just as tag partners, but then opponents as well.
Yeah, and again, like was mentioned with Uemura and Umino, again, I'm
Mm.
not saying they're not going to go Splitsville, but again, it would be
No.
a nice story, and again, something to look back on in years to come if it does build from here.
Yeah, yeah. I think that they complement each other at the moment. So like why not continue to just do this work with him right now? Like, I think both him and Suji are both in like different places, but it doesn't necessarily mean that Yuya's not doing great work, even though he's not in sort of like a big singles title picture at this moment in time. But what he's doing with Shota at the moment, I think actually will eventually, build to something potential for him. I've just been enjoying watching them as a tag duo for the moment. I don't think it needs to last long, but at the same time, I'm intrigued to see like how successful they could be as a tag team.
Yeah, and again, like I said, it gives them something to do. And speaking, as you mentioned as well, of big title matches, Yota Tsuji took on Gabe Kidd with the IWGP Global Heavyweight title on the line in a 24-minute war. Tsuji had to connect with his Gene Blaster Spear 3 times to weaken Kidd before making him tap to a Boston Crab. In a surprising match angle, the unaffiliated lost, well, of course, as we know, shook hands with the Bullet Club, teasing the possible alliance between the groups. Tsuji also shook the hand of Tanahashi as well. Gina, we mentioned it. We talked about Gabe, but it's Yota Tsuji who got his hand raised and is champion here, and he looks like he is, I'd say, next in line now as well.
Yeah, for sure. Yota Tsuji just looks so good and he just looks so respectful at the same time. So they really do look like they're shaping him to be like the ideal face um top guy. And I think it's working for him because I really like Yota Tsuji. I noticed him. I still mention this, I think, every time we mention Tsuji, but I remember him and Yuya Yamura and their feud. And from there I was always intrigued with him. And I always said from there, like, he's gonna be pushed to the top at some point. So I'm really happy to be seeing this happen for him.
I remember the first time you saw Yota Tsuji, it was when we were at Crystal Palace. You went, "Who's that guy with the nice hair?" And that's Yota Tsuji, man. And that was him on excursion at
Yeah.
the time.
Yeah, I remember. No, I'm glad I still remembered him from that. There's just some guys that you really connect with from like just first meeting them. And, those are the types of wrestlers that you love to see rise up the ranks.
Yeah, without a doubt. At the main event, Zack Sabre Jr. versus Takeshita for the IWGP Heavyweight Championship. And Sabre Jr. gave Takeshita loads of trouble during the match, trapping him with crafty submissions and connecting with Zack Driver on more than one occasion. However, after enduring numerous hard shots from Takeshita throughout the half-hour battle, it was eventually a power drive knee which put him away. And Takeshita has captured the IWGP World Heavyweight Championship. Wow. I mean, Monty, just wow. I mean, the match was excellent, and I loved the story working the arm and still using the knee. But man, wow. I know you won the G1, but wow.
Yeah, man, they beat the hell out of each other. Truly, truly beat the hell out of each other. It was a real match. I'll never get used to doing this. I mean, the way we decided to start doing this, which is so early. And King of Pro Wrestling is cool, and I would love to see how does this affect business compared to the old model. I know we were talking about the match, but just watching, having to see something like this and it not be in January and not be the Kingdom main event is kind of still confusing to me. as somebody who watched it that way for years. But it doesn't really matter. I mean, it didn't really change the stakes. I think the energy was still high, and I think we all knew that it was always going to be probably be a good match. But yeah, man, they really went out there and decided to try to one up themselves from an already great encounter in the G1, and that's kind of all you kind of can ask for in this particular situation. The selling was great, the finish was cool. It fit everything the story that they tried to tell. And the definition of a world championship match in New Japan is both guys giving it their all and leaving it all in the ring until until we name a winner, and that winner is Takeshita. And I as somebody who's been vocal from the beginning as far as like the working relationship with AEW and New Japan. I do want to make it clear that I've never ever like purposefully tried to slout or say anything bad about Takeshita and how much, or at least how serious or how much effort he's putting in. As much as I don't too much care for some of the decisions being made outside of him, he does seem like he's going to be a perfect fit to carry the New Japan flag. Now, how long and how well and and what ups and downs or type of trials that we would have to go through with him on top because of his multiple responsibilities. That remains to be seen. But looking at this match, looking at this moment, seeing him with the belt, and just kind of the everything that went into all of this in this moment, you can't really ask for much more from a guy who, even if you want to look at him and still say that's an outsider, you can't ask much more from a guy that's supposed to be just looked at as an outsider. Like he's done everything he needed to do, and the matches have all been top notch. We talked about it during the G1. This just kind of continued that run, and I don't know. I wonder how Zach feels, because I feel like in general, or even like you as a big Zach fan, I wonder how people really view it, because I just don't know why. Although he was a great champion in many ways, and he in both of his runs, one of them with the Goto stuff kind of got cut shorter than I thought, and then even this one, even though he was a dominant champion through the G1 and all that, not losing it in January and losing it now, that's still only a few months. Just for some reason, I feel like they didn't do anywhere near as much with him on top. That doesn't mean this is it, but you know, Takeshita doesn't seem like he's going anywhere, and we already talked about other faces who seem to be on the climb also. So where does this leave Zach was kind of the thing that I immediately was thinking going forward. I mean, TMDK in general to me just don't feel like a dominant fixture in New Japan. So it's just interesting, just an interesting thought, at least from that regard. But other than that, this is fantastic. Kudos to Kessler. He's great, and I'm interested to see where we were going from here with him on top. And can he survive Wrestle Kingdom? Is this just going to be just something to give us a great main event? But can he even make it past that? Is that the goal? What is the goal? Those are the questions I was thinking after this. But this is a great match though.
Yeah, it makes me think, like I said, the Goto injury with Zack Sabre Jr. winning it, was it only to get it to Takeshita, which is a shame for Zack. And again, you look at where they go afterwards as well. And, I think middle of the range tag team matches probably doesn't look too good. And especially now where we're not sure what Zack Sabre Jr. will do at Wrestle Kingdom, considering he's been the champion, the majority of the year, defended it last year as well. It'll be interesting. But, I mean, Jaxie, I'll ask you just from Takeshita's point of view. Was there a sense of pride? I know it sounds weird to be proud in a wrestler, but obviously we've seen Takeshita rising through the AEW ranks and then go to New Japan and win the top prize there. It's an accomplishment and a half.
I mean, yeah, like slightly. I think you could really call it that without it coming across patronizing, because you got to think about it. Like, we first sort of came across Takeshita within the New Japan division, where he was still quite green, quite new, quite young, honing his skills, then moving over to sort of like dominate sort of Western wrestling in a way that I don't think anybody sort of expected, like how quickly his popularity rised over there. And then to then even be able to sustain a positive and energetic reaction within the New Japan division. He's done extremely well in such a short amount of time, and you've got to give him that credit. So there is a hint of pride there from those that have been watching him from the very start, from the very get-go. And actually seeing what he's managed to accomplish. And if you think about it, his year has been absolutely brilliant. He's had so many iconic one-on-one matches with such iconic wrestlers. And he's not only made them look good, but he himself has come out looking even better than what he did before going into that match. So he's earned that right to not only have people proud of what he's been able to do in such a short amount of time, but also probably be proud of himself and what he's managed to accomplish.
Yeah, without a doubt. And it didn't take long for Takeshi's first challenger to be determined. I mean, he said anybody unhappy want to come out. Maybe not the best idea, but answering the challenge was Hiroki Goto, of course, the former world champion in his own right, wanting to reclaim his throne. And Gina, again, I'm going to pick up what Monty said, and it's quite interesting. Do you think they've rushed this a little bit? Do you know what I mean? Like with the Takeshi, is it because maybe what they want to do with him in AEW, they said, look, we can use you for a couple of months here? Because again, beating Zack at Wrestle Kingdom and then got to challenge him afterwards could lead into the start of next year.
Yeah, definitely. I also think is that us being too kind of used to the American culture of wrestling, where they kind of, I don't like really saying this, but the easiest way to explain is kind of like having a jobber come in between and challenge straight after the challenge, the belt has changed hands. So they look formidable. They've gone and had another defense against someone and they've won, and then go into another big storyline on, ooh, Goto will be great for the next one. So it was like, oh, okay, you're not gonna have somebody else like not smaller, but
Like a Ren Narita or someone. Do you know what I mean?
yeah,
Like we saw,
yeah, someone that like you don't think is ready for this championship yet. So they're probably gonna lose and help Takeshita look like a great defending champ in the process until their next big storyline. So again, I don't know if that's just us too used to the American culture of wrestling because they usually do that sort of format. But yeah, again, it was like, well, we're going straight to Goto. Let's go.
Yeah, exactly. We move on October 19th, a Road 2 show in Taichi's old high school. The main event was just three guys, Takuma Michinoku, Yuri Uemura, Taichi, defeating House of Torture. Taichi said, you might not be number one, but be the only one you can be. And that got me right there, man. I can see, Monty, why you like Taichi so much, but how weird for him as well to kind of go back to the high school. Do you know what I mean? That must be such a weird experience for him.
Yeah, I wonder. I wonder. Probably weird, but I know it would be weird for me. That's kind of the best way
Yeah,
I
I
would.
wouldn't want to do it.
It'd probably be weird for me, but at the same time, he's also he's Tai Chi, man. He is. I really don't know. He's a special guy in a lot of ways, and I think part of that would be going back and doing something like this. So I'm not really that surprised, but yeah, it's a good point. I mean, should that probably should be way more nerve wracking than I'm pretty sure it was for him. I'm pretty sure he just got on his live stream and kept it going. Also, it probably helps if you're further removed from high school, like he is than I am. Like he's been out of high school for a long time,
Yeah, I mean, if
so
Jaxie
it may
went back,
not
that would be
matter as
years
much.
ago, wouldn't it? Yeah, you're right. Yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
Hey, hey,
I
watch
didn't
it.
see it.
yeah. So anyway, after that, yeah, it's nice. No, good for Taichi, I would say. And then we got Junior Tag League. I mean, I'm not going to go through it all. Just my general thoughts. Taguchi versus Yo is magic, and probably my favorite matchup ever. And I'm not joking. Something about Yo, I don't know what it is. He's a very attractive man. I'm just going to put that out there. And Taguchi, I don't know. He's just great in his own right. Connors and the guy, along with Gedo and Takahashi, tried to make the new conglomeration competitive. I don't know. Funky Carrots is a great name for a team as well. Whiskey Dick was my second favourite, I'm not going to lie. And Tiger Mask getting his last win and beating House of Torture was a very, very nice moment. Ichiban Street Boys versus War Dogs was my match of the tournament as well. Monty, I don't know how much of the junior tag you watched, but again, it's for me, it's just another side quest, so to speak. You know what I mean? Let me just watch this because I quite enjoy the juniors, and especially this time of year, it's probably their last big show.
Yeah, I mean that's one thing I always liked about it. I know other promotions in history like WCW, hell, even ECW. They used to always make a big deal of how they kind of, oh, well, what won the Monday Night Wars for us was the cruiserweights, and then when you go back and you watch it, and you realize, oh, if you didn't watch the first hour of the show or the first 30 minutes of the show, the cruiserweights didn't have anything else to do with the show. They only came out there and wrestled the match while the commentators focused on something the NWO was doing, and they weren't really as big of a part of the show as you would expect if you go off what way people talked about it, and even the way you kind of can remember it if you just remember watching it. But of course, they made the most of the time they were given. I think even a similar vein is how WWE's treated cruiserweights over the years, and how even whether you want to go 205 live or even on SmackDown, we may have fond memories, but they didn't really get anywhere near as much time or storyline focus as a lot of those guys deserve. Well, New Japan rectifies that by giving their junior, their lighter division, not only entire storylines to themselves, but shows and tournaments and focuses. And I think the side quest is the best way to kind of view it because hell, even the same thing with World Tag League in general, but even the juniors version of that and their best of the Super Juniors, all of that is seemingly not connected to the main storylines that we're used to in the bigger events when they're joined with the heavyweight. But it also is very connected because at Wrestle Kingdom, a lot of these matches and stuff will be on the line, and this is setting the groundwork for why these people are fighting each other or involved with each other. So, yeah, man, I did not watch a ton of it. I got a chance to I got a chance to catch up through highlights. That's usually how I catch up with Best of Super Junior these days anyway. Didn't watch every show, but I already know what to expect from those guys. You're gonna get some of the best wrestling in the world. And because you got guys like Taguchi, because you have some of the older junior heavyweights with Dick Togo and others also involved, you're gonna get some comedy. You're gonna get some, you're gonna get a lot of different things. You got people like, Yo, who's a completely different maniac in his own right, and you get. I think what I like the most about it is that their junior or light division is just as like they can run full shows and do full storyline with just the junior division. And I'm not trying to say it would be the same thing without the heavyweights, but I just think not only do they blend in well with the bigger guys in their factions, they do enough and have enough character work to lead their own storylines and shows too. And I just don't think you really can get that anywhere else.
No, and again, we talk about the Ishimori Superhuman show, which was probably had about 1,000 people there. Desperado shows this year. I mean, the Ishimori show was so successful; they did one, like I said, the following month. So again, it just shows you what the junior heavyweights can do, and yeah, they deserve credit. And then November 2nd, I think it's the big last event we're doing. A lot of tag team matches. Let me get through it. Oleg Botin, Shumakato, Tatsui Matsumoto defeated Murashima Yasada and Zane J. And I got to say, I do like Zane J. There's just think about him. I think in a few years' time, again, will be something interesting to look at. Robbie goes Vegeta and Harley Jackson defeated Takahashi Gedo and Nagai. Taguchi, Daya, Kushida, and Yoshoku defeated El Desperado, Kukai, Tiger Mask, and Yamato. House of Torture, which was Evil, Ren Narita, Takahashi, Kanemaru, and Dick Togo defeated Shuka Umino, Yuri Uemura, Toriano, Yo, and Master Wato. Shingo teamed with Yuta Rice and Oscar with Clark Connors to defeat Greater Khan, Callum Newman, Tempolero, and Jacob Austin Young. I still don't know if I can get used to Shingo being a part of that. And then we got the finals of the Super Junior Tag League. It also concluded with the Tag Team Champion Show and Doki of the House of Torture defeating the Bullet Club War Dogs team of Taji Ishimori and Robbie X to win the tournament. Doki pinned Ishimori with a horizontal cradle after spitting red mist in his face and holding the tights. I mean, Show did tell us how easy it would be. But again, Jaxie, this is talk about Doki. I thought we were going to talk about Tanahashi. This is the Doki pod today because not only he's won the junior heavyweight title, IWGP obviously tag champion as well, but now Super Junior Tag League winner as well. You know.
Yeah, I mean, like to say that like Doki is not following in the footsteps of Mercedes Moné is a bit of an understatement right now, isn't it? Like he's winning all the gold, he's winning all of the glory, and fair play to him. You know, he's doing it well, and he's doing it in a way where he's like, I said I was going to take everything, and I am. So we could call this the Tanahashi and Doki show.
Yeah, I think that would be fair to say. Yeah, but you know, we'll see what happens. Tsuji's title defense came in the semi-main event against Hiroshi Tanahashi. The match was Tanahashi's final appearance in his hometown of Gifu, and it was gave the event its final homecoming name. Tsuji defeated Tanahashi with a Gene Blaster to retain his championship. After the contest, Tsuji thanked Tanahashi for the match and for the career inspiration. Most of Tanahashi addressed his hometown crowd. However, the farewell was interrupted by Yuta Ice, who challenged Tanahashi to a singles match for the November 8th show in Anjo. And I don't know about you, Gina, but this felt like the passing of the torch. And I think Yota Tsuji said it, I have to surpass the ace. I mean, that is a big call, you know? I mean,
Yeah.
ticket sales will help, but again, there's a lot to just say that. But again, they've done everything they can to put him in this position, haven't they?
Yeah, definitely. We were saying earlier in the pod how Suji's been kind of pushed into that sort of position, and it seems like he's been well received. So seeing that, it did kind of feel like a passing of the baton, you know. And again, I think everybody was sort of backing that, fans and other wrestlers as well. It's definitely exciting because I do feel like Yota Tsuji is a good person, is a great person to kind of pass that torch on to. He kind of has that aura that is very similar to Tanahashi, and I think he could carry that on in the years to come. So it's really exciting to think about.
Yeah, without doubt. And again, we spoke about Gabe Kid. He will team with Suji in the tag league, which maybe wasn't the two people I thought would be together, Gina. Do you know what I mean? I'm like, if we're going to put a team together, but maybe they
Yeah,
got respect.
again, this makes me laugh because these are the types of tournaments that like I really enjoy. If you're gonna put a random tag team together, I really love it when they put a face and a heel together. That just doesn't make sense, and the two guys are just like, "What? Why are you putting us together?" You know, I think it's gonna be great to just watch and see how these two can either work together or work singly and act as if they're the sole one carrying each other in this tag team.
No doubt. And the main event was Takeshita making his first defense of the IW World Heavyweight Championship against Hiroki Goto. Takeshita retained the title, pinning Goto after a raging fire. Following the match, Takeshita called for his next challenger for the Tokyo Dome, and Yota Tsuji, who had just successfully defended his title, emerged to challenge. The two champions agreed to face each other with both championships on the line. Now, Monty, again, I probably thought Takeshita would beat Hiroki Goto, but for Tsuji to show up and put the title on the line, double title match, I was not expecting that. I don't know about you, what you were thinking, and what were your thoughts on the match as well.
Yeah, I mean, again, I thought the matchup was cool. I think the only thing that hurt it was that it was kind of like what we mentioned earlier with giving him. I mean, giving Goto that shot is like you kind of defeat the. You kind of take the suspense out of it. As good as Goto wrestled, it's hard to kind of convince even you guys who've been watching long enough now to realize that most likely we won't have a title change this close to Wrestle Kingdom. You know, especially when the champion is already the G1 winner. So, yeah, so I think that's kind of the only thing that really hurt it, but I do think they still kind of did whatever they did a great job of trying to add some drama to it, even if, like I said, for the most part, I wasn't really buying it. But I do think again they had a good match, and I think uh, the stipulation thing. I was wondering, like I said, from the Zach match, I immediately got questions on what would be the way to go when it came to Wrestle Kingdom, and Suji being the way to go is not the shock. And I think what you mentioned is more of the shock, which is like, oh, okay, we're doing champion versus champion, and I've only seen this going. I'm opposed to both ways it can possibly go, but the only reason why I feel like we can do this is if we're going to enact on a couple of things. We're gonna crown Suji, and then we're gonna do what Suji has already suggested, as which is going back to the old World Heavyweight Championship belt design instead of the one that Takeshita currently carries. At least that would make the most sense if we're merging belts or if we're doing it. Unless they're trying to do the two belts thing again, which is a possibility, but I mean that got old quick, and that's kind of how we got the current world championship. Was the last time they just walked a guy walking around with two belts. So I think we may be merging, and I'm thinking either we're going to get another new belt design, which people will probably hate, or we're going to go back to the old one. So I don't know exactly what that entails. It does add an exciting like spice to this main event. Like I don't think this main event, when it comes to Takeshita versus Suji, I don't think that one is gonna be void of suspense. I think people are gonna be really wondering: are we setting off for a new era with a new with a different pro wrestling blending leader with Takeshita, or is this a new? Either way it go, we're getting a new era. But who's leading that new era? Is it going to be time for finally these one of those three musketeers or whatever? This new wave of talent New Japan has been developing over the last few years. Is it finally time for one of them to take the crown and be the one to lead us? For it. And it's going to be interesting because honestly, you can make a case both ways. You really can. You can make a case that that it can work either way. My only thing is that Suji has kind of already been close to the championship. So to me, the best outcome is crowning him and letting Takeshi to be the one to crown the new leader of New Japan going forward. But again, that's just from my point of view. I can see other people or people who love Takeshita or who want him to do more in New Japan. Let's be led by Takeshita, and Suji can wait, and we can fester a rivalry between those two going into next year. It can go both ways, and I think that's a very exciting. If it's not the main event, it's definitely one of the special main events for Wrestle Kingdom. So I think at the end of the day, they've done a great job of building a nice, suspenseful contest where I feel like either outcome you can kind of convince me of, but at the same time, it's definitely a shocking one, and I'm really interested more so with the outcome of the belt. Are we making a new world championship that's just going to be a joint up of this belt? If so, the global didn't really have a long lifespan, if we really be honest about it. But I don't know. What do you think we're getting a new belt? Like that's the interesting thing about it. Like New Japan already has 15 belts as is, so I don't think merging one would be a big deal. I just think we just like this new. I think, to be honest, as somebody who didn't like the new world, like the belt that Takeshita carries now, I didn't really too much care for the design. I didn't hate it like other people did, but I didn't really care for it. It's very funny to me that we already might be in the midst of changing it, whether we're going back or going to a new one. So I just feel like it's very funny to me how fast this era seemed to be possibly over. But what better way to bring in a new era, whether it's with Takeshita or Suji with new goals. So I don't know.
That's going to be interesting, man. Because, like I said, all I've heard is about the old design of the title, and again, the global title maybe not there. I mean, the US Championship, maybe bring back the Intercontinental as like the secondary. Maybe I don't know, because then that was the kind of last golden era, wasn't it? But again, it's
Yeah.
really interesting. And if you look ahead to Wrestle Kingdom, obviously we've got Suji versus Takeshita and a double title matchup. Obviously, Aaron Wolf's debut versus Evil, which will be non-title. Saya Kamitani will defend the strong women's title against IWGP Joshi champion Sayuri in a double title match on the big stage. And we should also mention Tanahashi announced that 31,548 tickets had been sold for the show so far, which is an incredible amount. I mean, Gina, this Wrestle Kingdom is going to be like, you know, when Monty talks about the stuff in the past, this is what this Wrestle Kingdom is going to be about. It is going to be packed out. Do you know what I mean? We're going to see a full show here, so to speak.
Yeah, definitely. It literally sounds like it's going to be a packed out show, and hopefully, with that many on the card, they're going to give us something special.
Yeah, and as for Tanahashi's last opponent, well, on November 8th, after Tanahashi and Yuta Ice went to war with the Ace winning, none other than Okada's old coin flip was heard and the Rainmaker arrived. He will be Tanahashi's last opponent. Jaxie, I could hear you screaming when I was watching it.
Yeah, I think my partner could hear me screaming too, running in thinking like, there was a fire or something, and then rolled his eyes the moment that he noticed who was on the screen. So as you can imagine, he was very happy and pleased too, to hear of Tanahashi's final opponent. Um, this was perfect. This is exactly what I wasn't expect. I did not expect this. But I am so pleased that we're getting this. I'm also pleased to I think, correct me if I'm wrong. I think this is one of the first few times that Okada has actually returned to the promotion since leaving it.
I think it's the first time he's back
It's
since
first, right?
leaving. Yeah.
Yeah. So this for me was very exciting. Plus, I miss his original music. So hearing this was just music to my ears. Daddy Okada was home.
also, also at show Master Wato, Yo, and Yano defended the six-man titles against House of Torture. But a quick question, just a quick straw poll, because now we've got two huge matches. We've got Tsuji and, like I said, Takeshita, and then we've got Okada and Tanahashi. Gina, I'll come to you first. Which one, I would say, should main event or will main event? It's up to you.
Oh gosh, that's really difficult. I have to say Tanahashi Okada though. Like that has to the Suji will get his moment for sure, but because it's Tanahashi's last, I think it should be that.
It's going to be interesting. Jaxie?
I'm biased and I'm gonna say Tanahashi and Okada, but that's because I'm biased. But I would be mad if they actually did put Suji and Zack Sabre Jr. because it's a pretty big deal. It's a pretty big stipulation to be merging like both belts and see who would win that. So it would be a pretty big deal. Um, but I'm biased. So I'm going with my heart and saying that it should be Tanahashi and Okada.
I mean, Monty, before I ask you, I think Suji and, like I said, Takeshi should be the main event just because it's the dawning of a new era, you know. But again, I can understand why Tanahashi maybe should. Well, what are your thoughts?
Yeah, I think you asked me a few weeks back, and I wasn't sure, but I know where I'm at personally. What I think will happen is kind of like a different story. What I am personally is definitely with the new era, with the Suji versus Takeshi the match, mostly because I feel like that entire match and the symbolism of what that match really means, it would be more impactful to me if you let that be the last show, even with a Tanahashi's last match moment, whether it's in the co-main event or you decide to do it. I just feel like the symbolism of it all. And I also think it'll be easier too. I don't need Takeshi. Takeshi only knows how to wrestle one way. So I don't see him pulling back because he knows Tanahashi is gonna go out there and Okada is in the last match. And then now we got Tanahashi trying to live up to whatever, Suji and Takeshita then put it out there in the ring. I just think it'll be more effective to me if the young guys finish it out. And that truly is like the entire night can be an encompasses of yeah, the Tanahashi story is ending, but this is what we have now. We have Takeshita leading us forward, or we have Suji leading us forward, and that's what people. I feel like I think one ending will be a better storybook, a better ending just for the moment because what we know this big show is about. But I also think the other ending would be a better like do you, what will leave the people coming back for? All right, I want to
Yeah,
watch New Year's
that's the
Dash,
thing. Yeah,
and I think the thing that'll make them want to watch New Year's Dash will be Takeshita and Suji, and the thing that'll just be like, oh, this is a legendary moment, and it's sad to see Tana go. Great to see him in there with his arch rival in Okada once again, and that will be a beautiful moment. And I think people can leave it at that. But what will get people wanting to come back and watch New Year's Dash, in my opinion, would be the Suji Takeshita match.
yeah. No, I think that's perfect because again, you're coming a lot. Everybody will be coming for Tanahashi, and hopefully, you'll be leaving talking about Suji, and that's what New Japan, I guess, are hoping for at this Wrestle Kingdom. I should also mention as well. This will be the largest gate in Japan for pro wrestling since Antonio Inoki's retirement show in 1998. All right. I mean, you don't get bigger than that. Apparently, they sold an additional 9,000 tickets in just 1 week after announcing Tanahashi and Okada, and it will have a smaller stage as well due to high ticket demand. Wow, I cannot wait. We will leave it here then. I mean, I will cover the Tag League on the Wrestle Kingdom podcast, but that is the next time we're in New Japan will be for Wrestle Kingdom. So finally, Monty, what are your thoughts on New Japan since G1 as we head to Wrestle Kingdom now?
I think it's been a lot of fun. I think we're in a pretty good state in a lot of ways, or at least you can see the formations of us getting into the Wrestle Kingdom energy and the mode. Of resetting for a next calendar year in New Japan, and I think they're doing a good job in a lot of ways. It's is it perfect? Is everything exactly where you would want it to be? I'm sure there's plenty of areas that they can still improve on, but I think when I compare it to where we was at different times throughout the year and even like last year, we're in a good place overall as New Japan fans. And I think I'm just interested, man. I really want to know what the plan is post because post the Tanahashi run. And the only reason why I want to say that is because I want to caution fans that we are getting some of the best work from New Japan, but we are also tied. A lot of the best of what's been going on in New Japan has been tied to the retirement of Tanahashi. So I'm really interested to see that, not only do they finish out the year strong, but like even post Wrestle Kingdom and going forward into next year, what is going to be the direction? What is going to be the storytelling angles, or who are we supposed to be invested in going into next year? Without so much of our every card we've been blessed to have some Tanahashi involvement, some angle involving him, something. So when his last thing with Okada is done, and it's finally time to let Tanahashi fully embrace retirement, I'm really excited. I'm cautiously but excited to see where New Japan decides to place their focus and what is going to be the story beats going into next year. But as far as where we are now, I think they've done a good job of getting us to the tag league, which always revs us up for Wrestle Kingdom. And I think we're going to have one of the best Wrestle Kingdoms uh, in years, and I'm just happy. I can't wait to see what else we can do. And your fact about Tanahashi and the gate being with Anoki is only fair because Anoki is probably the only name next to Tanahashi to me. I mean, of course, there's been other great legends, but since in New Japan's inception, you probably can't put a more important name next to Inoki other than Hiroshi Tanahashi. That's just how big he is and how great this retirement run has been. And I can't wait to give him his final send off, even if it is against that prick Okada.
No, but an excellent point, and we've had the pleasure to watch Tanahashi's last year. Like I said, we will see his last match at Wrestle Kingdom. But you did make an excellent point. I'm going to wrap it up, but again, this is the difference I think between the John Cena and the Tanahashi retirement. The fact that Cena's retiring, and then you're going to have the Rumble with the road to WrestleMania. Whereas with Tanahashi, it's Wrestle Kingdom, which is their biggest show. So again, like you said, it's going to be vital for New Japan from New Year's Dash to be able to build something up. So Wrestle Kingdom the following year is just as big. But that is it. Don't forget, across all social media, X at the WNR Podcast. I'm at the WNR Pod James. You can find the entire WNR team on the banner. Jaxie, where can people find and follow you?
You can find me on X, Instagram, and Twitch at Jaxie Scarlett.
Perfect. And Monty?
You can find me at House of Torture, at Mind and Monty Pod, but also at House of Torture.
House of Torture
You
is
can
the main one.
look up the address.
And Gina?
You can find me on Twitch, X, and Instagram at Purple Pain.
Perfect. And also on Facebook and Instagram. Send us an email at WNRpodcast@gmail.com and YouTube the WNR Podcast. We're celebrating 10 years of the WNR with shorts, universe mode, and clips from any event we go to. And the podcast is also live on YouTube and also on SoundCloud on your phone, also Spotify and iTunes. You can download, subscribe, rate, and review there. So that is it. Our next episode will be AEW Full Gear, where we catch up with Blood and Guts. But until then, I've been James Rollins and was joined by the fantastic Jaxie Scarlett. Thanks for joining me, Jaxie.
It's been fun, and I look forward to the next one.
And of course, the mind of Monty. You're a little bit happier now. We've had your House of Torture fix.
I mean, did you see what Show and Doki did for me? I mean, they're bringing in some serious dough to the house, so I'm in a better mood. We'll see, though. I will see how long that lasts.
Yeah, we'll see what you like next week. And of course, the genius of Gina, and happy anniversary, Gina. Glad to have you on board for so long. I appreciate you.
I appreciate you too, James. Thank you very much. And yeah, look forward to this space. Look forward to seeing more Yota Tsuji. And until next time.
Yeah, without a doubt. Thanks for listening, everybody, and bye.